Arkansas governor who once ordered the execution of 8 death row inmates is speaking out after the longest standing inmate passed away of natural causes this week. Here's Gabriella Phelan.
After the 1990 brutal murder of an 18-year-old girl, Bruce Earl Ward was sentenced to death.
Well, that's the hardest thing for a governor to carry out, which is an execution of a human being.
And after 27 years of facing the fate of death row, then Governor Asa Hutchinson ordered Ward and 7 other inmates to be put to death over the course of 11 days.
We had 8 names that came over from the Attorney General's office. I set the date of those 8 names, prisoners, to carry out the death penalty. And I knew when I did that you would have the courts do last-minute reviews and some would be delayed, and that's exactly what happened.
So once the time came to execute those inmates, 3 of them were delayed, including Ward, whose attorney raised concerns of incompetence. Eventually, Ward's execution was stayed by the courts and he was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. 35 years later, Ward passed away, not by the death penalty, but by natural causes.
When they're on death row for 20 plus years, is the death penalty effective? And the best argument against the death penalty is that we do not effectively carry it out.
Which to Hutchinson raises some questions.
They were competent at the time of trial, but that was over 20-some years ago. And so the question is, as they sit on death row for 20 plus years, has their mind diminished? Has their mental competency diminished? Are they in fact of sound mind that they can be lawfully executed?
One of his primary concerns are the families affected.
And this is tough on the victims of the crimes that had a loved one that was brutally murdered, and they want justice and they don't see justice happening. So they're the ones that are heartbroken, and the delays make it much more difficult for them to have closure and to be able to put this behind them.
But according to the Attorney General's office, part of the reason the process takes so long is because each inmate has to have time to appeal before their execution can take place.
You're sworn to uphold the law and the Constitution, and the legislature has said the death penalty is something that we want to have in Arkansas, and so once the appeals are exhausted, that's the responsibility of governor to carry that out. I took that oath and obligation seriously.
Hutchinson says changes should be made to create a more operative system, which he's confident the state's current administration will do.
If the system never gets corrected, then people will lose confidence in the death penalty as being effective.
His parting words for those impacted by Ward and other death row inmates were ones of hope.
I tried to faithfully execute the laws whenever I was governor, and despite all the difficulties, we did carry out that penalty in 4 instances, and I hope that the families of the victims, even in those cases, had some measure of closure, and that's what we hope for all the families.
That's Gabriella Phelan reporting. We'll check in with Dan with that forecast.